This series is presented by Solo Hunter brand rifle covers, your gun's best protection against the elements.
It's so quiet outside. All you hear is the the Alaskan interior hum. But then when you do hear something, it can freak you out. So a man's got to be real careful not to let his mind run away with him. You let your mind run away with the sounds that you hear, and you're going to be in for a long night. For the most part, I've slept pretty good. And I think tonight I'll probably sleep fine, because once I go to sleep, I won't know what's around me, and that's a good thing. But I guarantee if one of those alarms go off, the heart's going to be pumping. Really pumping. Make you think twice about stepping out of the tent to take a leak in the middle of the night, that's for sure. Try to get some sleep, some shut-eye, and hope that you're not awakened in the middle of the night to a growl. So, that's it. Going to bed.
My name is Tim Burnett, and I have gone off the grid in west central Alaska.
Spooky in there. Holy crap. Spooky as hell.
Over the next 14 days, I will be living in the wild and hunting for giant Yukon moose that roam this part of Alaska. The hunting portions of my adventures are usually quite simple. Hunt, find, kill, and bring it home. But I am not out here just to hunt. My job is to hunt, film, document, and produce the realism of my adventure, all while playing role of hunter, guide, and protector, which when you're in grizzly bear country can make even the simplest of tasks much more difficult. This hunt is do-it-yourself when unguided, and on this week's episode, I am showing you a rare look into the backstory.
Well, this Alaskan voyage is finally starting to wind its way down. I'm so ready to go home that I'm a little bit delirious. I'm just ready to be done and be out of here. I've been stuck in this village for the last 2 days because they couldn't get a plane to get us out of here. Finally, this morning they're going to be able to get a plane in here, and we'll get a ride out of here at about 11 o'clock today. So my 2012 Alaskan voyage is now nearly complete. A couple more days and I'll be home sleeping in my own bed, and I can't wait.
It's go time. So they're just in weighing the bags and everything. We've just paid for our ticket and getting ready to load up on the plane. So planned takeoff is about a half an hour from now, and this is when it all starts to feel real. I've already been traveling for a full day and stayed the night here in Fairbanks, but this is kind of the jumping off point to get on the plane and head out to the village. And it's about an 1.5 to 2 hour flight, and then once we get there, we're going to jump on the boat and head upriver. They are forecasting some snow and some seriously cold weather, so we're going to take it for what it is. I have been planning an unguided moose hunting trip to Alaska for 2 years. It almost seems a bit nostalgic that I am now living in this dream that I had once thought might never come true, but by the graces of God, it now had. I am a proud father of 3 amazing kids that I love more than anything in the world, and although I love going on all of my hunting adventures alone, I always do my best to make sure that nothing will ever happen to keep Daddy from coming home. Due to the extreme high water conditions and for safety reasons, I am traveling upriver with Caribou Gear owner Ted Ramirez. Once we reach our designated hunting area, we will establish a base camp and begin hunting the next morning. Found a nice little flat spot to set up camp, but the sun's going to go down here pretty quick, so we're going to find somewhere to hang our food stash and get settled a little bit. These are self-documented hunting adventures with no production crews. We hunt in very remote locations and often dangerous situations. We are solo hunters.
There's something about this kind of weather and this kind of experience, just this kind of brutality, that makes you feel like a man.
My favorite backpacking food, dead animal.
Make you think twice about stepping out of the tent to take a leak in the middle of the night, that's for sure.
Filming myself and trying to shoot stuff just frustrates me. It makes you feel like you're a horrible hunter. It's not the case. You're just a horrible cameraman.
Solo Hunters is brought to you by Muzzy Broadheads, Carbon Express, Gorilla Gear, Outdoor Edge and Vortex Optics, Prime by G5, and Campbell Cameras. Relive your adventure. Closed captioning provided by Trophy Taker Fallaway Arrow Rests, leading the way on the line and in the field. Solo Hunters is brought to you by Prime Bows from G5, where accuracy is everything.
The hunting area that I drew this moose tag in is pretty secluded, so the nearest village that you can get to is actually downriver, about 70 miles from where the hunting area begins. I've got the ability to have the motorized boat so that if something happens, I can get in or out of the river if I need to. If something happens with the boat itself, I know that I'm upstream from the village and I can float down to the village. Because this is an unguided trip and I've got to provide food, shelter, bedding, everything that has to do with the hunt, I've got to ship it out early because there's no way possible I can carry all of that stuff on the plane and on the bush plane to get out to the village. So the things I'm going to take my fly rod and my fly fishing gear and the waders, kind of for a dual purpose. The waders are obviously to fish with, but being in and out of the river on the boat and hunting in the marsh, the waders are going to come in handy to keep myself dry. So food, I'm a food guy. I'm not one that wants to go and not have enough food. So I've got enough Mountain House, one for every day plus an extra for the 15 days that I'm going to be in the bush. I've got granola, little peanut butter, Jif on the go, peanut butter cups. Got lots of crackers, granola, protein shake mixed with a little bit of instant oatmeal for my breakfast, some Wilderness Athlete, Rehydrate and Recover, and some Energy and Focus energy drinks. Caribou Gear game bags. This is the Moose Pack. Alaska is kind of different where you've got to pack out the rib cage, meat on bone. So I've got the game bags there. I always keep an extra outdoor edge knife in that bag set, as well as a couple knives in my pack. You'll notice here I've got 35-liter dry bags. You can get larger ones. Basically everything that I have here on this table at some point in time is going to be in a dry bag. This bag has pretty much all of my toiletries, bug wipes, water filtration pills, toilet paper, any of those types of things. This Ben's tick and insect repellent is pretty awesome. All of that. I'm going to be shipping my bullets for my handgun and a water filter. I always bring a medical kit. On this trip, I'm going to ship this steelhead medical kit. It's in a watertight bag and everything, and it has everything that you need in a survival situation. But then with my hunting pack, I always have my survival medic kit with me in my backpack at all times. So this kit will stay at my camp, and then I'll always have a first aid kit with me all the time in my backpack. Bring 2 or 3 hats, 2 or 3 pairs of gloves. What I've done is I put all of my socks, gloves, underwear, the long underwear, in Ziploc bags, and then those are also going to go into a dry bag before I box it up and ship it, so that when I get there, everything is all in the dry bags and all I've got to do is throw it in the boat and go.
Well, this is where, as a producer, things get a little bit hairy. Your water and dust is the camera's worst enemy. So when you're getting weather like this, it's a fine line between pushing
pushing the limits on keeping your equipment dry and how much you can film and how much you can be out there. But also you have that fine line between what you have to produce, you know, what you're going to produce or what you're not going to produce. So it's a tough one to deal with. So, I mean, all you can do is, when I use some lightweight rain covers for my cameras, mostly because I do backpacking and everything. I think eventually for hunts like this in Alaska, I'll probably try to get some waterproof housing that I can have the cameras in. You just never know what you're going to get weather-wise. You just have to deal with it and just enjoy it either way, because that's all part of the experience. You know, whether it's the bears or the rain or the snow or anything else, that's the experience of Alaska. I guess it wouldn't matter if I had a big budget for camera equipment. Had a bunch of backups and a cameraman and some dry cases and a production crew. You know, you're looking at a one-man wrecking crew right here. I can screw up a hunt or screw up some camera equipment just as good as the next guy. So that's what it is. As it is, I'm going to keep everything as dry as possible, and when it's raining this hard, I'm just going to stay inside.
Behind the Lens is brought to you by CAMO Cameras. Relive your adventure.
One of the coolest shots that you're starting to see a ton of in outdoor television today is the jib shot. One of the things that I like to do to recreate a jib-looking shot is to just do it handheld. This works easier when you've got something close in your foreground. You can hold your camera and just slowly do an upward pan. Another great trick is to extend your tripod as far as you can, brace it on a stump or a limb, and give it that same jib motion. When you're limited to the equipment that you can pack on your back, you've got to learn to get creative. This segment of Solo Hunters is brought to you by Carbon Express. Shoot better. Solo Hunters is brought to you by PhoneScope, digiscoping accessories for your smartphones.
So right now I'm just kind of taking an opportunity to use the GoPros a lot. I used today to conserve the batteries a little bit for my camera. So as wet as it was, I've been messing around with the GoPros. And even now I've got set up a little GoPro here, just stuck in the ground, because as the sky is burning off, the blue's coming through and the lighting is really good and changing quite a bit. So I'm gonna let this run for, it's on video mode, I'm gonna let it run for 20 or 30 minutes, just to kind of see if I can get a little bit of movement in the sky. If I had more time and we were gonna be in this area for several more hours, I'd set it to photo mode and have it take a picture every, probably as slow as the sky is moving, probably every 5 seconds. And that way I could run it for a couple of hours and really get a lot more dramatic of a time lapse. But I like to use these little GoPros for stuff like this, especially when the lighting is good and right after a rainstorm and it's overcast, the lighting it pops pretty good. The GoPro camera has long been one of my favorite pieces of equipment, almost to a fault at times. I like to call it my what the hell cam, because you never really know what kind of shot you're going to get. Sometimes I'm extremely disappointed with a shot I thought I nailed, but other times I'm stoked for the little moments of candor that I accidentally captured. That's the frustration, is nothing's easy, Try to get a shot, rack focus through these trees to get something cool. And it's just frustrating, so I rip off the rain cover, and now what have we got? Rain. So now I gotta just shut everything down and put the rain cover on before I run my camera. So it gets frustrating. It's what you gotta deal with, especially filming in this environment. So that's part of the fun about it, but it's also part of the anger and the angst about it. Is you just have no control over your environment. None. It's gonna do what it's gonna do. It's gonna rain on your lens. It's gonna get dark. It's gonna be windy. You just have no control. And as a hunter, that's okay. Because you just deal with it. And here in Alaska, anything can happen at any second, any time. As a producer, it kind of stinks. It gets frustrating because you want to have that control, because you can't always have your camera in the rain bag and have it all ready and the right lens on it and everything ready to go right at the right moment. So it's just a guessing game of back and forth, change lenses, wipe lenses, in the water bag, out of the water bag, mic on, mic off. Just all those things that start to get on you after several days of trying to produce, but that's just the way that it is, you know. Some guys are better at it than others, and I'm not going to let it get to me. We're going to produce another killer hunt here. Find a moose to kill.
There!
I didn't see that second. Just got charged by a black bear. Good thing it was a black bear. We were calling for moose right back here. Heard something come through the water and then through the willows, but it just didn't seem right. It just seemed too quiet to be a moose. And I was looking back this direction, and all of a sudden I turned my head and I heard something coming through, and all I saw was bear. I yelled bear real loud, and it just stopped right here. I mean, just right up here in front of me. I don't know, less than 10 yards. And as it tore off, I saw another one. I know there was two bears. I mean, I was fiddling, getting my camera all set up to film the moose coming in. And it ended up not being a moose. Or just real lucky that wasn't a grizz. I mean, it's a big black bear, big as I've ever seen, but lucky it wasn't a grizz. Man.
Solo Magnified is brought to you by Vortex, the force of optics.
The key to good glassing is to be extremely steady. The best way I know to do this is to use your binos on a tripod. If I'm going to sit up and glass an area for a while, I'm going to want to get steady, I'm going to throw my binos on a tripod, and I'm going to pick it apart slow. Even if I'm in thick timber, I'll use my binos to pick out little pieces of an animal. Even though it might be close quarters, your binoculars can still come in handy when you're moving through and still hunting. My binoculars give me an advantage to see better, and I'm going to use that every chance I can get.
This segment of Solo Hunters is brought to you by Big Green Targets. Go big, go green. For more information on all of our Solo Hunter branded products, social and digital media, exclusive video footage and recommended gear, as well as our choice outfitters, go to solohunterstv.com. Solo Hunters is brought to you by Adventure Medical Kits and Survive Outdoors Longer. Expect the unexpected.
Nothing like a fresh pile of bear poop to brighten your day. Stuff looks nasty. But walking through stuff like this just makes your gut turn. I mean, you're making so much noise and you keep wanting to stop to listen, see if anything's coming, but you keep wanting to keep going to get out of it as quick as possible. It's just kind of freaky when you know that you're in bear country. So keep our fingers crossed that we're not having any other bear encounters.
We're now on our 8th day of this trip, and we've got 8 more days, so this is the halfway point. From a beauty standpoint, it's all there. You've got the rough weather, you've got the colors, you've got the perfect lighting, you've got everything that you could possibly hope for, but you don't have the animals. We haven't seen anything. Man, how am I going to put all this together without having 10 or 12 different moose or some bears or something to look at, to be able to utilize? So the animals and the wildlife are the star of the hunting show. We're just going to try to show you the experience behind being in Alaska and you know, the do-it-yourself on your own style of a hunt. So it's be a little bit different when you're with an outfitter, because it's not all resting on your shoulders. You know, right now it's just, you can either lay in the bed and hope that a moose comes strolling through camp, or you can go out there and beat the brush. So makes it fun.
Despite all the rain and wet filming conditions, I'm still having a blast on this hunt, and it looks like I finally have a break in the weather. Although here in Alaska, you never really know. But I still have 6 or 8 days to hunt, and I don't plan on going home empty-handed.
And it's nice to get some sunshine after 6 days of rain. Nice to finally not have rain, but we got all these to deal with.
The Solo After Show is brought to you by Outdoor Edge, quality knives and tools for the big game hunter. Can't seem to get enough solo hunters? Now you can get extended behind-the-scenes access into the show. You'll find additional video clips from our fans, as well as a look into some of our exclusive tips and outtakes that we couldn't fit into the show. All this and more at solohunterstv.com.